Okay, so this is the Why You Can't Be Desperate or Never Be Desperate part 4 or 3 or something like that. So after the whole don't ask random people to take you home thing, which I think I already talked about, I put Facebook abusers post old photos to appear younger. I don't really know what point I was supposed to get at with that, but I guess that's just a side note. I don't really remember. Oh, and here's the big thing. If you're doing the lay low till 18 thing, or really just if you're, I guess maybe homeless in general, stay away from people that, will literally let you know that they just see you as a juvenile delinquent criminal. And the reason people will say this or see you this way is because due to how laws are set up, at least in the US, if you're under 18 and if you're not being trafficked through the cash for kids system or living with abusive relatives, then you're considered a fugitive. That's what it is. And then also juvenile delinquent and a whole bunch of other things. Then of course there's the whole mentally ill homeless drug addict stereotype. And honestly, whether the homeless people are like on drugs or whether a vast majority of them are on drugs, that still depends on where it's actually at. But that's kind of a separate topic. But anywho, there was something else I was supposed to say about that. Oh yeah, I remember now. So I wanted like help practicing my algebra skills or getting better at algebra. Well, yeah, that was algebra and a couple other things. So this guy I knew talked to his mom because his mom used to be a teacher or something, and it was a whole bunch of stuff. Kind of a long story somewhat, but pretty much he told me that nobody he knew wanted to tutor me because I was a quote-unquote criminal, all because of the assumption that I was like 11 or 12, even though I kept saying that I wasn't 11. But that's not even really the point. Just the fact that they see somebody like that anyway. And the thing is, it's really crazy to me how people will see homeless kids and then they'll be like, well, I don't even want to do the bare minimum to help. Like, I don't even want to give them a sandwich or anything because I don't want to be accused of hiding them or doing something and things like that. But the thing is, if the police and all that really cared, the kid wouldn't even be in the situation that made them have to run away or get kicked out in the first place. And even if you did do something to them, in the end, the kid is the one who's going to get the charges, just like the video I made a few years back about how the kid victims get charged with quote-unquote CP, which I don't even like that term. I'd rather just say people abuse imagery. So, yeah, stay away from people that see you as a criminal. And, there was something else. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, so I guess I'm just going to keep going. Maybe I'll remember, maybe I won't. If I do, I'll put it in the description. So, to really get to the point of why you can't be desperate, you have to accept that it's highly unlikely another person will do for you what your parents and family should have done or should be doing. This mindset is one of magical thinking. And of course it's possible, but to be truthfully honest, usually when you go through certain things, especially if you're anointed or prophetic, you're going to have spirits attached to you that are going to make you attract some of the worst people to attract. to eventually make you end up losing your mind or becoming what hurts you, because that's really the end goal, or for you to just end up dead, but all of that put together, really. So anyway, magical thinking that you especially don't want to have if you're desperate, self-gaslight, and are easily gaslit/manipulated, and have no spiritual discernment or social awareness, and also if you have cognitive dissonance about past and current abuse, or if you have trauma bond or codependency, limerence, along with codependency and trauma bond, is people idolatry, and is also tied to people pleasing and people bondage spirits. Then, of course, there's the rejection, abandonment, and a whole bunch of other ones. If you have attachment issues, sexual or drug addiction, if you have an Ahab spirit, aren't working towards breaking generational curses, not breaking up marine spirit marriages. Wait a minute. Not breaking marine spirit ties with boyfriends, girlfriends, molesters, things like that. Hold up. No, I think I'm reading this wrong. I always do this. Because I just write everything down really quickly and then it's like, okay, hold up. Oh, yeah. Boyfriends, girlfriends, molesters, rapists, all those people are Marine Kingdom agents. So if you have generational Marine Kingdom spirits, or if you got one from past abuse, you may fall into a cycle of more Marine Kingdom agents. And one funny thing that I could say is that if you're breaking free from like perversion or lust spirits or all the things that go along with that, and Marine Kingdom spirits, when you stop doing what the spirits want you to do and you're breaking free from sexual addiction, they'll send people to try to get you to either get into a relationship with them, quote unquote, or have what do they call it, a one night stand, or is that just what dating is in general? Because that's what it seems like. So either that, or the marine spirits will just send somebody to you to just try to straight up assault you. So no agreement, no nothing. Which is why you really want to work on breaking that off of you, especially if you're in bad situations, or you're homeless, or even in an abuse situation, because these molester and assaulter Marine Kingdom agents are serious. And if you stay in a place that has like a large principality of perversion, so Cali or Georgia or even New York, a couple other places, really the whole country, but certain states have it worse. And I've been saying for years, Georgia is a quote-unquote Black California, from the Freemasonry and the Freemason and Eastern Star Ivy League schools to the principality perversion. Because like I've been saying for years, most people you'll meet in GA, male or female, young or old, has been molested in some form or fashion. And so a lot of people are turned out or they're just hypersexual in general. And what point was I getting at? Oh yeah, in places like that, it's easier to run into these types of Marine Kingdom agents. Like, it's hard to really leave the house without some molester type person popping up out the blue. And it's like, sometimes I have to ask myself, or even when I hear other people's stories, I have to wonder, where does this person even come from? Because it's like, you're walking down the street, or you're going to the store, and then the person just pops up, and it's like, I check my surroundings a lot, so I just looked around and nobody was there, but all of a sudden the person's right there, and then they do their usual little manipulation tactics where they're asking weird stuff, or they're just trying to start a conversation, which I wanted to make a video about these types of people specifically, because one, like I've already said, the people who really could actually help somebody or in the position to or in the mindset to don't want to. So the people that do pop up and claim that they're going to play hero commonly are pedos and other toxic people. And that's why I wanted to make a video about the chomo types of Marine Kingdom agents, because they're a big issue and they use a lot of flattery, humor, or even to start a conversation with you. They'll walk up to you and say some stupid stuff just to see if you respond or not, to try to start a conversation. Like, they'll be like, are you so and so, when they know good and well you're not whoever they're talking about, and honestly whoever they're talking about probably doesn't exist. Or they'll tell you about how they're trying to get their life together and they're starting a business, or how they have some job that they probably don't even really have. And that works on a lot of people because a lot of people are materialistic and they're stuck in the matrix. But yeah, so there's that. Boyfriends, girlfriends, molesters, all that, they're Marine Kingdom agents. Wait a minute, let me pause this. Okay, so to finish what I was saying, these Marine Kingdom agents are easier to run into when you're homeless or when you're in school, specifically grade school, or if you're in any branch of the Cash for Kids system. But I mean, of course, abusers are going to be unavoidable in like the deeper branches of the Cash for Kids system, or even the people cash cow systems in general. Like, there's a lot in the homeless industrial system looking for desperate people or younger homeless people. But anywho, you have to or may have to accept being alone and working on yourself for a little while, getting closer to Yahweh and your calling, or finding out where your calling is through seeking Yahweh, healing, self-deliverance, and laying low for a while. Because like I've been saying, I consider my current situation my transitional/wilderness period. This is the period where it's not constant chaos and a whole bunch of other stuff, which if I go into, I'll be somewhere else. So yeah, my time to work on myself. And I've gotten over issues that I've had since I was 3, so it's definitely been working out. You have to learn to do things you can. Wait. You have to learn to do things you can on your own. And growing. Wait. And go with. What does this say? Okay, let me start over. You have to learn to do things you can on your own and go without some things, which you've probably been going without some things anyway, your whole life. So you're going to have to do that again, pretty much. Chasing money and material things is vain and symptom of mind control and will get you in a lot of bad situations, especially if you're laying low. From prostitution/self-abuse, or two-way abuse, as I call it, or abuse of self and abuse of others, to falling into selling drugs or doing them. So pretty much becoming a doctor or pharmacist, even prescription, which is two-way abuse and gives you pharmakia, sorcery, spirits if you're selling them or doing them or both. Also the ritual of fornication, and also SA. So like, because if you're quote unquote prostituting yourself, there's going to be a lot of abuse in there, and it's all a ritual, which gives you soul ties, STD, sexually transmitted demons, which is also called spiritual transference, which you can get other ways other than just sexual, but anywho, and can eventually split you into being schizo, or schizonarch as I call it. That and drugs, which I mention all the time. So sleeping around or prostitution can make you become a schizonarch and make you go into splits. so can drugs, and those two things put together guarantees that it'll happen real quick. And honestly, weed is one of the worst drugs for that, regardless of what people want to say. Weed does make you schizophrenic. People can say what they want to say, but that makes people lose their mind quicker than a lot of the things I see people doing out here. Like some people, they take one hit of weed and then they're never the same after that, and then they're out of their mind. So, yeah, anywho. Also, getting pregnant by a molester or boyfriend, or vice versa, which would be the molester gets pregnant and then the victim's a boy. That is another thing that commonly makes people become schizonarcs or quote-unquote narcissists, which is why, especially with what generation was that called? I don't think that was the boomers. Was that? I don't even know what they called it, the millennials, whichever one, where everybody was getting molested, and then they started having kids at 12 and stuff, and then they are the narcissistic parents that everybody's talking about now, whichever generation that was. But yeah, sleeping around, getting yourself into baby mama, daddy drama stuff, running after molesters, and even if you don't get pregnant by them, that will for sure turn you into a quote-unquote narcissist, as people say today. So that's going to give you the Jezebel Leviathan spirits. And something you'll notice about a lot of these quote-unquote narcissists, or the narcissistic parents that everybody's complaining about now and have been for a couple of years, you look over their life and you see molestation, a whole bunch of boyfriends, a whole bunch of girlfriends, a whole bunch of kids, and now they're split, they're out of their mind, and they're demon possessed, and they hold their abusive parents who messed them up in the highest esteem, which is why I always say watch out for people with cognitive dissonance. People who won't admit that their abusers did what they did, or one day they'll be like, my mom did do this, but then another minute they'll split into another personality that'll say, my mom didn't do that. Stay away from them, because they're going to do the same thing to you. And that's really common, especially with people that have been trafficked but don't realize